Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel again, General Technology Knowledge. Today I would like to show and share about how to configuration the hardware and testing between CPE330 to version Remote I/O of PLC GE. Okay. It is just an example. Right now I will use part 1 for connect from CPE330 to my computer, and one more for part 2 connect to the remote I/O version Mac. Yes, and I will use the digital output one card for test and show how to configure between CPU and version remote I/O. Okay, so I will use Proficy Machine Edition version 9.5 and connect from part 1 of CPE to my computer via LAN cable, and also connect between part 2 to the remote I/O by using the LAN cable also. Okay, and I will control the two relays and two LEDs for show to everyone also in this step. Okay, so let's go to our software to make the hardware configuration and testing and configure the remote I/O. Okay, so let's go. So first open Proficy Machine Edition. Okay, and then go to create a new project. Example remote I/O. Add remote I/O. Yes, and then go to empty project. And let's go to add the target, and I will use PAC system AS3i. This one the target name, example CPE I/O. Yeah, it means that connect from CPE to remote I/O. And then go to the hardware configuration. So for power supply, right now I use DC power supply, so I will replace the module. And then I will use slot number 1 for CPE 330. Yes. For the default IP is 192.168.0.100, right? So I can go to my computer and then set the IP address for manual mode 192.168.0. something, but no 100, because the default from manufacturer is 192.168.0.100 for CPE 330. Okay, so example I will set dot 250 and subnet mask. Yes. Okay, so we need to go here, and then we can go to Ethernet, and then 192.168.0.100, right, for CPE. Let ping to confirm. So 192.168.0.100. Okay, So let me check. Okay, we can ping for confirm. Example CMD ping 192.168.0.100. Okay, so we can ping from our computer to the CPU, right? So we need to assign the IP address for port number 1 and number 2, right? Totally we have 2 ports. The port number 1 should be connected to the computer, and port number 2 should be connected to the remote I/O, right? Version Mac. So we will assign the address to the port number 1. So here I can use the variable mode. True, yes. And then for LAN 1, IP address is 192.168.0.100, right? And MAC address, subnet MAC 255.255.255.0. For LAN number 2, we can put 192.168.32. Example.1, yes, and MAC address. Here we can put another rank, but not the same as here. .0 cannot, yeah, because these 2 ports should be not the same rank. Okay, so example 255.255.255.0 for subnet MAC of port 2. And then let's go here because we use the variable mode true. So example node 0 1 slot 01 CPE 330, right? And then we can provide 80 bits, yeah, for this variable mode. So 80 bits. Okay. And then we can go to the CPE for assign the parameter. Example, in the setting tab, I will use the run for power up mode. And here is the option that we can select. Example for LAN 1, it means that LAN point port 1. Right now I assign Ethernet, yes. And for the port 2, we can also assign Profinet that I will show in the next video. So right now I will use the Ethernet first. Yeah. Here is very important. If we cannot assign here, we cannot communication. Okay. And then we can go to the memory. Yeah. Okay. Just this one first. And for percent W example, I can use 2000, yeah, for percent W. And this one I can put, yes, example 512, yes. And for digital input and output, it automatically to the maximum, yeah, we cannot increase or decrease. Okay. And then we can download the hardware configuration first. before we add the I/O module, right? So we can stop the CPU and then we can download. Yes, and we can write to plus. Yes, and we can start the CPU. Okay, so right now the CPU is starting successfully. Yes, and in the next step we will configure the remote I/O, right, for here. So we can control from the CPE to remote I/O via LAN cable. Okay, so we can go to the offline and then go to the target, add target, and then go to the intelligent platform remote I/O, right? And right now I will use the Proficy Ethernet. Yes, so click here. Example NIU1 or VS1 Proficy number 1. Yes. And here we need to assign the IP address of Proficy also. Yeah. So here the first step we need to assign the IP address to Proficy, yeah, to be the same rank as that we set on port 2 because we will connect to port 2, right? Let's check here. 192.168.32.1, right? So we will assign the address to be matched with this rank. Okay. So example, I will assign 192.168.32.2. Okay. Because .1 is the CPE IP address for port 2. So I will assign .2. Yes. And then here we can configure by double click. So here is the setting of network, right? Okay, I will close this one first. Otherwise we are confused. Yeah. So setting, no change anything. For network, we will put the same as here. Yeah. So 192.168.32.2. Yes. So double click. 192.168.32.2. Yes. And subnet mask 255.255.255.0, right? And I will use the EGD for communication between CPE and remote I/O, right? So I will use CPE EGD, right? And then go to the producer exchange. So this is the IP address of producer. It means that consume IP address. Yeah. So the consume IP address is 192.168.32, right? .1, right? And for the consume, exchange, yeah, it will start from 1 because we just have only one IP address, so only one version map. And this is a producer ID. It means that who produced to this remote I/O. So I need to create one more for EGD, Ethernet Global Data, by right click on here and then choose the add component and then go to Ethernet Global Data. It means that EGD. And then I will put some number. Example, I put 10. It should be 10.0.0.0. Okay. So this is a producer ID from 10.0.0.0. Okay. The EGD ID. And for group ID, we will use 0 because we not use it. And for memory and power consumption, we not change anything. So in the next step, we need to okay, I will close this first. We need to add the carrier box style, right? So here, and I will use IC200 CHS022 vertical, yes. And I will use the DO, yes, digital output module, yeah. IC200 MDL 750. Okay. Okay. So we can add here, right click, add module. So go to the digital output, right? And choose IC200 MDL 750. Okay. 32 points, 24 voltage DC or 12 voltage, 0.5 M, yes, and then click OK. So it will start from percent Q1, yeah, for in this module. So in the next step, we need to set the temporary IP for this remote I/O, right? By set the one more for computer rank IP address for this. So right now, if we would like to ping, yes, for CMD. So ping 192.168.32.2, right? We cannot ping. So we need to put the one more for IP address, right? Go here and then go to property and go to IP4 and go to property and choose the add one. So I will add one more for IP address. Example, add like this: 192.168.32.250. Okay, like this, and then click OK and OK again. Close. And we if we ping, we cannot ping also because right now we not yet set the temporary IP of this module. Okay, so let's start to set temporary IP. Before set temporary IP, we should connect the LAN cable from our PC to the PLC also, right? So we need to have the MAC address of this module also, right? So right click and then go to the set temporary IP of this module. and I will record the MAC address of this module. So the MAC address of this module is 000991141 A826 A826. Okay, and the IP address that we want is 192.168.32.2, right? And this is the IP address of our computer. So 192.168.32.250, right? So we can set okay. So right now it's so like this. It means that we can communication between our computer to the remote I/O module, right? So we can ping to test. Okay, we can ping, and then we can download the module to the program to the module, right? By right click and then download to remote I/O, and then click OK. Yes. So right now I already download to the remote I/O. But if we just configure like this, we cannot control from our CPE to the remote I/O, right? So we need to configure more. Yes. Let me activate this target first. To configure more, we can go to the Ethernet global data and then choose the producer exchange, right? So right click and then choose new. This is a produce exchange 1, right? So we can rename to be VS1 version number 1, and then producer. Yeah. And this is parameter that we need to set and configure. Example, this one is the exchange ID number 1, and adapter name is 1 because we use slot number 1 for CPE, right? And then go to the unicast, yeah. And here is the destination. Destination, it means that the destination that we want to control, right? So 192.168.32.2, right? The IP address of the version module. So for run store mode, we can choose true. Okay. And for exchange, yes, we can VS1 consume, yeah. And here is the producer ID. It means that who produce, right? So this one we can choose 192.168.32. Who produce, right? So version map will produce to the CPU, right? So dot 2 and for exchange ID is 1, adapter name is 1 also, and for run store mode we will choose true. Yes, and we need to configure this one for remote I/O, right? Double click for a producer, and we need to add the 2 words or 2 integer for status, and 1 integer or 1 word for status, and 2 word or 2 integer for command. Okay, so we need to create the variables, new variable, and I will use integer. So example vsm1 vs1 version 1 for use status. Yes, and I will use CPE330 because it is the project name, and I will use 1 integer for array, and I need to more for command. Yeah, so example vs1 produce command cmd, and I need 2 integers. Yeah, so array 2, and then I can double click here, and then I put the status for 1 integer and the command for 2 integer, and then I will add this IO. Yes, so add, and then I will use the %q and start from %q1 32 bits. Yes, so we can add the 32 bit for digital input, digital output, and then go to the version map for consume. We can add one more for status. Example vs1 consume status, and I need 1 integer also for status, and one more for vs1 consume cmd. It means that consume command, and I need 2 integer, yeah, for this one, and I can double click to add this status, right? So consume status 1 integer, and add one more for consume command, yeah, 2 integer. Okay, and then here I can save the project. So we can download, yes, by click connect, and then click download to CPU. Yes, okay. So right now we can for the signal for test, yeah, for test the output. Okay, let me go to the queue, yeah, %q, it means that output, and I will show the status right now. Yes, so it shows start like this. It means that the status is okay. It means that we can connect from the CPE to the remote I/O. If I take the LAN cable, yeah, take out the LAN cable, the signal will lost. Yeah. If I reconnect again, the signal is okay. Okay, and the output point number 1 until number 32 is turned off right now. Yes. Okay, let's test the signal. So I will force the signal to person queue number 1. Yeah. And the PLC will turn on. Yeah. Let me show. Okay. So person queue number 1 is turned on and number 2 is turned on also. Okay. Let's see the condition right now. Here is turned on and here is turned on. And I connect from this signal to the control relay and from relay to the LED. Okay. So it's working properly. Yes. So I will remove force. Yes. Okay. And another way we can write a program for test also. Yes. That I will show in the next video. Okay. So thank you very much for watching my video. And if everyone have any question, please drop comment under my video. I will reply soon. And I would like to request all of you to like, share, and subscribe my video also to get more notification and more new videos that I will create step by step. So in this time, I would like to say thank you very much again and see you next videos. Bye bye.